Welcome to the 7th episode of the Keep Your Wings podcast. It's time for a discussion with my boss, Dominique, as I've committed to a new event with him. Unfortunately for me, May, my new colleague, irritates me to no end. Welcome to Cliché Land starts now.
Keep Your Wings, le podcast.
Chapter 7. Welcome to Cliché Land. My relationship with Dominique following the European Food Festival has been somewhat on the rocks. Some of his attitudes and directives piss me off. I perceive him as a man who constantly delegates, but who is unable to take his work in hand. Throughout the event, my colleagues and I saw far too little of him. Too busy planning the opening of his restaurant in Taichung, he completely neglected the festival. However, when it came to complaining about sales or the poor organization of the site managers, he was the only one to be heard. I'm going to sue them, if this keeps up, you'll see, everything will work out. Listening to him, Dominique's pockets were stuffed full of magic powder. However, no miracle occurred, and the event was an abject failure. If he hadn't been so presumptuous, I would have understood, but this was the pot calling the kettle black. To make up for this failure, and above all to avoid the problems we'd encountered during the first experience, we decided, with my remaining colleagues, to schedule a meeting in order to put our conditions on the table, especially after Theo's revelation. But here we were. The original team had been completely disbanded. Pauline and Theo had quit, Lucie had suddenly disappeared from the radar. As for Pierre, he had long since been dismissed, even if we still maintain a hint of conversation via line. That left me with only 2 other colleagues, and unfortunately it was the only one with whom I had the least affinity who decided to stay. May, 24 years old, rather noisy, very childish in her attitude, her hair as orange as the plumage of a phoenix, and we never ceased to recount her life in minute detail. So yeah, that's my second punishment. Dominique, we need to talk. Despite the scheduled meeting with Dominique, all the demands I had written down on my sheet were heard, but never really listened to. Among the most important were the following 2 demands. A real employment contract with overtime paid as required by law.
For the Taiwanese, a word is enough as a work contract.
Dominique retorted.
We almost never make them here. Overtime depends mainly on the works you provide. Staying 4 hours in front of an empty booth and finishing a bit later doesn't deserve extra pay.
Secondly, better communication that informs everyone of schedule changes, items to bring in, available inventory, and so on.
Of course I'll let everyone know. Count on me.
In short, a conversation that will have served absolutely no purpose. Lai Chang Chang woman Mei Wei de Bili Shu Hua Fu Bing Ba. This time, we're no longer part of a festival, but instead a pop-up store that will be taking up residence near a luxury shopping mall during the month of December. I already knew that I could forget about Christmas Eve. Dominique wanted to save money and only hire one more Taiwanese woman to help us for the 25 days of our waffle, fries, chocolates and beer booth. The new recruit was Tanya. This little chick with the "I'm so cool" style. She had beautiful blue eyes due to the reflection of her phone screen, which she never let go for a second. Her English was even worse than May's, and there was no real conversation, which made the working days even longer than expected. However, young Tanya didn't last long. Very often late, her face sucked in by her Instagram, Line and Snapchat. A perfect combo for a sacking. Dominique kept May for a hard-working side, admittedly, but probably not for a maturity or a conversational level. Indeed, the latter, in total admiration of foreigners, whites, and Western world, invaded our conversation with Logorea. Our exchanges were punctuated by a jumble of barroom analyses, nonsense and cliché.
Have you ever worked with Latinos?
Not that I can remember. Why?
Would it bother you?
Why would I mind?
Everyone says so, but that doesn't stop me from often going out to M Taipei.
A club where the all-you-can-drink formula attracts a lot of party-goers to tunes that are uniquely Latino. Quite ironic, right? Really? And who are all these people?
Some friends of mine, and even when you watch movies, you can see that they're lazy.
Okay. May, unaware of my lack of interest in her stories, unpacked her whole life for me, demonstrating once again the naivety that she and probably many other young Taiwanese girls proudly wear like a crown on her head.
I slept with a white guy, and I don't understand. He said he loved me, and since then, he hasn't been responding to my messages. Why is he doing this? I don't understand.
What was I supposed to say to this girl? May had this annoying tendency to take everything at face value and didn't understand an ounce of humor. irony, or even that there were other worldviews than hers. She believed in love at first sight, especially with her Russian boyfriend. As she indulged in Skype conversation during work days, she would put her phone up against the cash register and be observed by her boyfriend, who would spend hours watching her. A very, very strange relationship, especially in view of the late night tales May was constantly regaling me with. She was also inseparable from her friend Tara, a 40-something woman who accompanied her on all her outings, and whose main mission was probably to get a taste of as many Western cocks that came her way. My first meeting with her friend will undoubtedly go down to history.
My friend doesn't speak English, but she wants to know if you want to sleep with.
Ah, I replied shocked.
She does this often, so she does it well.
May reassured me, a request which I declined given that Tara was definitely not my style. And her behavior was enough to worry me. I remember an evening when the young lady was infatuated with a 15-year-old teenager, kneading his mouth with her tongue for long minutes, causing discomfort to many people who learn her age. Every working day, May will tell me about her and Tara's adventure, a feast for the ears.
Were you self-employed before? You must have made a lot of money then.
No, not that much.
Oh, then you never had a girlfriend?
May had been brought up with a worldview that might seem somewhat archaic to Westerners, and with very precise codes. The man is to be big and strong, bring in money and pay for magnificent gift, while the woman then to be weak, attentive, and respond to her husband's demand for affection. Sometimes she will comment on the messages our boss sent us when she was completely drunk. May was the perfect blend of Asian naivety and European attitude, a combo that didn't work in every situation and would probably have cost her her place in any other job. Despite her wild adventures, as a young girl, May had a dream that was the antithesis of her personality. She wanted to travel to Europe to discover the world. I remember advising her, trying in vain to explain that her beliefs about nationalities were nothing more than cliché. She often asked me about the most suitable backpacks, how to save money, her desire to learn more about the world and discover other culture.
You're lucky in Europe. It is so easy to visit. Everything is close to each other. By train, you can almost go anywhere. I love Taiwan, but I dream of going to France. It is so beautiful there. Sometimes I tell myself that I wasn't born in the right place.
She confessed to me during a rather hectic day at work. I don't really know how to explain it, but she sometimes managed to touch me with her dreams, her desire, and her somewhat disconcerting naivety.
You like black guys, do you? Because Tara once kissed a guy in a club and wanted to take him home, you see? And so we leave the club and then she realizes that he is too black for her. She told him that she didn't like black guys and that he had deceived her because he didn't tell her. Well, he slapped her. They are violent too.
By the end of December, I didn't feel like talking to May anymore.